Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing sort of an updated video, giving my extended thoughts on the rumor, as promised, that Andrew Lincoln wants off The Walking Dead, wants to quit working on The Walking Dead, which was started by OK Magazine. Going to be giving some updated thoughts on it, and about it not being true, according to his rep, and also kind of the practicality of what if he did want off at some point in time, and also answering some of your guys' questions. Great, so I wanted to do this one. You guys kind of requested for me to do this as well too, after I alluded to me possibly doing it in the last video where we talked about kind of the rumor when it first hit, when it first came out. And it did say in it that the rep denied it, but the thing about it is that even if he did actually want off the show, the rep would probably deny it anyway, because that would be huge, and they wouldn't really want that to get out. But it seems like right now they can't keep anything under a lid right now with regards to character deaths or big events or things like that happening, due to just the craze and popularity of the show. We find out about most of the deaths online. We find out about most of the stuff online before it actually even hits, before it actually even happens. So that said, what do I think? What in my opinion? Because I haven't really given my opinion on it too much in terms of, do I think it's true or false? To me, it sounds false. I mean, there's been a lot of rumors about The Walking Dead. Hopefully there's no truth to it whatsoever. There's been rumors that Glenn was going to be killed off. There was rumors that it was going to start in the summer, when Bryan Cranston said years ago, I think in season 2, I did a video on this one, or maybe it was 3, I forget exactly, but Bryan Cranston said that he thought they were going to start The Walking Dead in the summer, and so that became a big thing. And people say certain things, and then magazines and that will spin it other ways. Yes, Andrew Lincoln does seem tired, and he has seemed tired at Comic-Con and that, but everybody gets tired. If he works a lot of hours, that's all there is to it, It's just part of the gig, I guess, in the heat in Georgia and that, where they're filming. And it is a tough job, but it's not a bad thing to talk about. This question is from DJSUTTY. He says, "Hey Trev, what would happen to The Walking Dead if Andrew Lincoln did actually quit? Like if there is some truth to the rumors, because a lot of times there can be some, but we don't know anything with regards to what OK Magazine, who is their sources, who did this originate from, where did this come from, or are they just posting it out there to get headlines to get people to buy the magazine, which is probably what's going on, unfortunately, but that's the world we live in, right?" So, okay, so what would happen if Andrew Lincoln did actually decide to quit? Well, this is a problem with the TV show, and it's definitely something I wanted to cover with regards to the channel. Some people were upset, like, "Trev, why are you talking about this? Why are you not?" Well, the thing about it is that we've seen it happen before, right? If you look at Dale and what happened with Jeffrey DeMunn, his character, right? When Frank Darabont was kind of kicked off the show, he was loyal to him and said, "I'm out too," right? So they actually had to kill him off early, even though he was supposed to survive into probably what would be season 4, which I would have actually liked better, because Dale's a really cool character to have around, and he had a good relationship with Glenn. He was a really cool character to have there. And they kind of replaced his part with Herschel, which worked out pretty well. But I still feel like it would have been even better if he had stayed, if he had been there. And this is something that we haven't seen too much else aside from with him in the TV series. We've seen it with the background with Glenn Mazzara, Frank Darabont kind of leaving and that. But versus the comic book series, well, the comic book series is pretty solid. You just get Kirkman to write it, which he can probably do for the rest of his life, easy. And because he's working on so many different things at once, almost sometimes it seems like he doesn't even have to focus. He just does it, and that's it. And then he goes on and work on something else out of the many projects he's working on. And then you got Charlie Adler who does the art, which for him, that's like as an artist, that's like a career job. Imagine, you go to a Comic-Con or something, you say, "Oh yeah, I was the main artist for The Walking Dead." People be like, "What? You're what?" So it's, people know him, and, it's an awesome job for an artist versus a lot of comic book artists where they skip from one title to another, and sometimes it can be difficult for them to kind of make their name. With Charlie Adler, it's like he is The Walking Dead now. Tony Moore did the first trade, trade 1, but ever since then, we've gotten used to Charlie Adler's artwork, and it really fits the style well, and it's just a perfect match. It's a match made in heaven, so to speak, in my opinion. So, just as long as those two are locked in, that's all you really need, right? But with a TV show, you have the people factor. You have so many different people that are involved in the show. You have your actors, you have your writers, you have your showrunners and your producers, and all these different people, the network and what they want, the budget and how much they want to put in, and building. Now they've even got season like 3, 4, 5. They've got building the prison set, building Alexandria, building the hilltop, where you've got these huge teams and stuff that are working on building these humongous, amazing sets and that, which is just absolutely incredible compared to if you think like the first 2 seasons where they just sat around on a farm most of the time. So it's a huge production, and over the years, if the show's going to last 10 or 15 years, I'm sure this is not the last time we're going to be talking about people wanting out, people saying, you know what, I did it for maybe 5 seasons or 3 or 4 seasons, and I've just had enough. I've had enough of it. I'm done. I'm not interested in doing it anymore or something. The average person changes jobs every 4 years right now in North America. So now those are, majority of those are like regular jobs. Being an actor or actress is a little bit different. Those type of careers are different. I'm sure their statistics are different. But if you just think about it like that, every 4 years the average person changes a job. You get a sense of after 10 or 15 years, you could see some people that are working really hard, like Andrew Lincoln, getting burned out. Now with him, he knows like the whole show is pretty much riding on him. So I think, and he seems like a really classy, really nice kind of guy. I don't personally know him, but I've seen a lot of interviews with him and that. So I think that even he would be selfless to keep doing it from what I know of his character. I don't mean Rick Grimes, I mean his actual character in real life. So I think with him, we're probably okay. And I'm happy for that. I'm happy that sounds like everything's good, and that's good. But you never know. There can be illness, there can be deaths in the family, stuff like that happens. And you may not necessarily want to be working on The Walking Dead if you just had a recent, death in the family or something. Who knows, right? So you got the people factor mixed in there. So things can happen behind the scenes. And that's one downside of the TV series over the comic book series where it's just locked in. It's pretty much good. TV series, a lot more variables in there, a lot more people, and definitely in the future we could see some people deciding, I've had enough, and they want to be killed off at some point. That said, though, they get paid really well, and it's a huge show. It's like a career show for them. And being an actor and actress, especially if you're not one of your top-level movie actor, actresses, these type of people, it can be difficult for them to find work. A lot of times they can go for a year or 2 without a project or something, and then they can find another project in a movie, like a small role or something. So it can be difficult after. So they may want to hang on to it as long as possible as well. But you just get the human factor. So that's why I kind of wanted to do a video on that, definitely with you guys, and talk about the practicality of it, and kind of my reaction to it if he did quit. So there's my reaction. If you guys want to know how I feel about it, there you go. It's in the video. So yeah, so now what would happen so that's what would happen to me. What would happen to the show if he decided, let's say season 7 or 8, maybe there's some truth to the rumors, which I don't think there is, but let's say there was, and then he decides he wants to quit in season 7 or season 8 or something, or at the end of season 6. Man, that would be like DJSUTTY's question. That would be really crazy for the show, because if you look at the covers on the show, like every season, it's like Rick's on the cover, right? So he's your main guy. It's like, not having him in the show would be really weird. Would they recast him? That's something that people have asked. Somebody said Matthew McConaughey, they think that he could do a good job. He could replace him. It'd just be so weird to see Rick played by anybody else but Andrew Lincoln if they changed the casting. I think they'd probably opt to kill him off. Plus, with Matthew McConaughey, yes, he was in True Detective, but he's a pretty high-paid actor. He can just drive Lincolns around all day and get paid to do those commercials. So he doesn't really have to do hard work like that. So, well, some of the movies he does, I'm sure, is pretty hard and difficult for him to do. Like True Detective would have been hard to do. But what I'm saying is that, it'd just be weird. I don't think recasting is really an option, at least not to me. He's your front-runner character. To have him recast makes no sense. They could go the Game of Thrones approach, which is just to kill him off and just be done with it and then switch him out for somebody else, have Carl be the lead in like maybe a few seasons or something, or have Lenny James or Daryl, Norman Reedus take over or something. But no matter what, it would definitely change the dynamic of the show. It would feel a lot different, and I don't think it would benefit the show. It might be huge at first. So what could happen is if he decided he wanted out and they killed him off like they did with Dale, we would see ratings explode probably for a season. People would just be like, I can't believe they killed off the main character. This kind of thing would be nuts. But then after that first season, if you have a lead like Daryl or somebody like that and they don't make it as interesting, then we could see ratings dive down far because of people just feeling like it was so much better when Rick was there and I don't like it anymore and kind of quitting and that. So those are kind of my thoughts on it, that I don't think you can recast him. If they did do it, they'd have to switch him out with another one of the characters as the main cast, or they could do the Game of Thrones approach, which is you don't really have like your core front character, and you just kind of split it up amongst a bunch of different little point of view characters, which you do have some front runners there. Like you'd have Daryl, you'd have, which he already is, you'd have Carol and Lane James Morgan if he survives in a few seasons, and you just have these other people that could kind of take over as the lead, but you would never have one particular lead. If you're doing 16 episodes, that's a good way to do it, I think. And I think it works well for Game of Thrones, which is really 15 episodes, 10 episodes, sometimes more because they're 1 hour long each. That's an episode and a half. So people say, why is Game of Thrones only 10 episodes? It's not. It's really about 15 or 16, depending on how you want to look at it, depending on the season and extended episodes. So it's the normal amount. They just put it all together and give it to you all at once without commercials, which is pretty sweet, to be honest. So I think that's kind of how it would go if it did happen, is they would have to do it that way. And I don't think the story would benefit from it. I don't think it would be as good if they did that. I would be pretty disappointed, and it would kind of suck. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think he realizes how many people are riding on this, and he must be pretty pissed off, because like if people say stuff like this. And what if there's if there's absolutely zero truth to it whatsoever, and he reads this thing online one day saying that he wants to quit, and he's like, what? It's like, what? Man, that must be, but that's part of the criticism that, you have to take when you're kind of a public figure like that, an actor, or, somebody famous like that. You have to deal with some kind of nonsense sometimes. I mean, and why would they do that? Like, why would they post something like that? I don't know. It's just, it's not cool. It's not cool. But anyway, just to wrap it up, I don't think they should ever do it. I mean, will he eventually die? That's a topic for another video, because I do think in the comic series, we will see that in the TV series eventually, yeah. But I don't think story-wise we're even close to that in the TV series right now, unless, like I said, the actors want out or something, or, people start deciding they don't want to do it anymore. But Rick is probably your most difficult person to kill off, because he's your front runner character. Next one is from Davis Fleming. He says, hey, Trev, I have a question for Q&A. If you had to kill off either Daryl or Rick, which character would you choose and why? And maybe what would the effects be for the show if either of them was killed off? So we'll end with this question, because this is kind of loaded. And keep up the great videos, man. Oh, man, you got me torn. So if I had to choose one of them to survive, the other one has to be killed off. Who would it be? I think I would kill off Daryl. As much as I like Norman Reedus, the episodes with just him and Beth, or the episodes with just him by himself, they have written Daryl to be very closed off and very kind of lone soldier type deal. And that doesn't translate well to a 16-episode season as a lead character, unless they make him change quite a bit. Which they could do. I don't know. I just think like Rick is such a dynamic character, where you have kind of him and the state he's in right now in the TV series is so exciting. You have, of course, his strong relationships, where Daryl doesn't really have hardly any. I mean, he has a strong relationship with Carol, but Rick has a pretty strong relationship with Carol too. And of course, Rick has Carl. Rick has the others, and he just is a strong leader. Whereas Daryl is too, but he's more like a field leader, and he doesn't really feel to me like somebody that he could anchor the whole show. That there's no doubt about that. He could do that, and we could see that, and it could work out okay. But I think it works out more nicely if he just would kill off Daryl and then have Rick continue as a lead. I think that's less bumpy of a ride. So, losing my voice. Let me know what you guys think. Write your comments below. Who would you kill off between the two if you had to? I would say I would kill off Daryl and then continue with Rick. But so wanted to get my updated thoughts on the rumor. Thankfully, it sounds like it's not true, and there's no truth to it at all, which is good. Write your comments below, guys, on what you think. And if you like this video, you like this discussion, you can add your comments below on how you think it would go, who you think they could replace Rick with. And if you like the video, please thumb it up below, share a favorite, and if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. See you guys for the next one. As always, it's Trev. Saying peace.